we got a couple emails from viewers that asked about icicles when it's relating to
Not even viewers. These are actually our gutter shutter
customers, right?
talking about icicles. They're new gutter shutter customers, and they said that they've, with their old gutters, they did not have icicles.
Right. Yep.
So
Same thing happened. We had leaf guard.
Yep.
Gutter shutter. It's going to happen in Wisconsin with anything. So I thought we'd just take a couple minutes and address the icicles conversation.
Icicles can be caused by a plethora of things.
Correct.
Now, being a Dr. Energy Saver dealer and knowing how home performance works and how a home breathes and how heat loss happens and what happens when your home loses heat, we know one thing, that if it's really cold and you're getting a lot of thaw and you're getting icicles and ice dams, you've got a problem inside your home. It has a lot to do with your air sealing and insulation. But what we also know is that we get freeze thaw temps, which we've had a lot of this year. We get a little snow and then it freezes and thaws. And what are gutters made of?
Aluminum.
And aluminum is very cold.
Right.
So as that snow and ice melt, and they freeze and they thaw and they freeze and they thaw, they hit the cold gutters and they freeze.
Did you ever have a kid dare you to put your tongue on a flagpole as a kid?
I don't know, but from watching the movie, I just did it once.
I bet someone talked you into it.
It hurt.
I never did it. I was smart to have dumber friends than me that I could talk into doing it, so I didn't have to do it. But the same principle happens there, right? When you it was funny. We were out with a customer, and it was actually a really cool experience. It was single digits last week, 2 weeks ago, and we went to a thermal imaging camera, and we actually found that where the sun was hitting a shingle in a single digit day air temperature, that shingle was actually 45, almost 50 degrees.
Wow.
So not only do we have heat loss coming from an attic, we also have that big orange thing in the sky called the sun that can, when it hits warm surfaces, especially dark, like shingles, it can warm that up and get water moving around. And when that water hits that metal, just like when you're a kid on a flag in your tongue on a flagpole, when it hits it, it has to freeze. It happens in open style gutters. It happens with no gutters. It happens with any covered gutter.
Right.
And that is just part of Wisconsin.
But if your gutter's open,
you have a giant ice cream tray.
It's falling to the bottom.
Right.
And it's freezing in the bottom. So a lot of people that didn't have covered gutters, they might not necessarily have seen it, or it was there and it was starting to rear its ugly head as an ice dam created by the gutter, but sometimes it gets covered by snow and you couldn't see it. We actually did a study one time. We took an open gutter and we cut it and we made it into a 1 foot chunk. We end capped it, we sealed it up, we filled it with ice, and we stuck it in the freezer and we froze it. You know how much it weighed? 20 pounds.
Wow.
1 5-inch gutter, 1 foot long, 20 pounds of ice. So if you got a 40-foot piece,
so if you got a 50-foot piece, you have a half a ton of.
You have 1,000 pounds hanging from the front of your house. Now, what we know honestly, it can be gutter shutter. It could be any covered gutter.
Yep. Leaf guard, leaf filter,
anything
gutter helmet.
It's going to do is it's going to take where that ice freezes from the bottom of the gutter up to the top of the gutter. Now, couple things. You see it more. So you're like, what is going on? But as an icicle, it's also allowing that ice to then fall off your house.
Correct.
It's not all sitting in the trough and freezing and pulling on your fascia and misforming the gutters.
Correct.
So it's actually much better for the home. And I think a lot of people see them and they think something's not working right. It's absolutely
doing its job.
It's absolutely working how it's supposed to work. Now, icicles won't hurt anything because gutter shutter is literally the strongest.
I was just going to say, with having gutter shutter, there's zero reservation in my mind that it cannot hold. That will hold up to the snow and ice of the weight.
I mean, we put 600 pounds on a 5-foot piece.
Correct. We had producer Shane hanging with 2 other guys on a piece of gutter.
Tool belts, 600 pounds.
Gutter shutter's that strong where it's not going to hurt it. Now, some other products, it may disform it, maybe wreck it a little bit. Gutter shutter, solid as Sears.
Yep. And if it does wreck it,
right, that's our peace of mind. We'll replace it.
That's our thing. We'll replace it. But a lot of people have just never seen it before.
Correct.
Right? They don't know. And it's a question I'll ask people when they call us like, well, what is it about the icicles that bother you? Well, something's not working right. No, it is working right. It just took the ice from the bottom of the gutter up to the top, and now it's allowing it to slide off. Now, if it's over a sidewalk, if it's over a front door, it can be annoying.
Pain in the butt.
It can be a pain in the butt. It's still better than getting up on a ladder and cleaning out your gutters.
Correct.
4, 5, 6 times a year.
Correct. Way more dangerous.
So icicles are not they're not a bad thing. I
Right.
just remember as a kid we always had icicles.
Remember we used to break them off and lick
Yeah,
on them?
they're like swords.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lick on them. They're
Yeah.
full of like dirt and
Dirt,
shingle
yeah.
grit.
But that's why we never had. Well, I won't go on the COVID road. Sorry, no politics, no religion, no COVID. Sorry.
Stop it. We're
Sorry.
first time live on TikTok. We
All right.
don't want to get canceled the first time.
All right, so
Joshua.
we were healthier back when we were younger. Let's put it that way.
Joshua. So we talk about icicles. Might as well talk about ice dams. What causes an ice dam?
Ice dams is when that ice freezes at the bottom and when it fills up your gutter, it makes a block, and the water can no longer go anywhere. And it's got a speed bump, if you would.
Yep.
So as that water slides down your roof and hits that speed bump, it freezes, and it just keeps on going back and back and back. And that's when stuff really starts getting wrecked.
That's bad.
That's bad.
So typically, ice dams can start they actually can start from a gutter.
Mm-hmm.
Gutters can actually make them worse.
Mm-hmm.
When you usually see the worst ice dams, it's not. It's just up on the edge of the roof.
On
And
the roof.
when they have really bad ice dams right on the edge of the roof, now you know that home has a heat loss.
Heat loss
issue.
problem.
Big time.
Because the overhang, if it's a foot or 2 feet, is cold. So that last 2 feet of it
That's what
is
starts
air
freezing.
temperature.
Yep.
But if you got liquid water running down that roof and all of a sudden it hits that air temperature roof deck that is underneath it,
Freezes.
it's froze.
And it just keeps happening. And then you get more snow, and then that snow is melted because of stack effect.
Yep.
You're losing so much heat through your roof, and it's just a continual issue.
Correct. And if your roof wasn't done right, you're laying in bed going, you hear drip, drip.
Mm-hmm.
And then your wife looks at you, she goes, "What's that?" "Oh, that's a roof leaking, honey."
We definitely take precautions
Correct.
to make sure
When we do a roof, we protect it from all seasons in Wisconsin.
we protect it from all seasons in Wisconsin. But with saying that, I don't know if there's a contractor that would ever guarantee that your roof wouldn't leak from an ice dam. Because when that ice freezes and it starts to creep underneath the shingles, it can go all kinds of weird ways. And once water has tension, water will stick to itself, and kind of once it figures out a way to get into a place, it can keep following that same path. So ice dams really are
It's a serious deal.
they really are a serious deal, and they really do cause a lot of damage.
Mhm.
I seem to see less and less of them. I think just because people have gotten smart, A, to how to stop them, and B, knowing that they can cause so much damage or something.
Correct. Yeah, the roofs are getting done better. I'd like to say that all roofs are being done better, but that's not the case. Most roofs are being done better. And
There's a major home builder here right in the Madison area, and if you're listening, you know who you are. They use 0 ice and water on the
That's
roof.
crazy.
None. 0. Not in the valley, not at the edge of the roof, and they've literally built thousands of homes.
that's crazy.
Mhm.
Because the code's minimum requirement,
As long as it's a 612 pitch,
you don't need ice and water.
you don't need ice and water.
But we know that Wisconsin, you still got snow and ice.
It's quite ridiculous.
Think
Because
about it.
ice and water's not good. Ice and water is expensive. The amount of ice and water that we use is expensive. But just to use a few feet, at least
On the-
one row, at least put some in the valley.
Right.
Can you imagine not having any steel or any ice and water in the valley on a roof?
Well, that happened to my neighbor.
Unbelievable.
We had a little hailstorm that came through by us up in the Fox Valley this last year, and my neighbor behind my house a couple years old, year and a half year old, we tore the roof off, and the same thing. They had ice water in the valley. That was it. Nothing on the eaves. It's crazy. The house and that was a $700,000 house and no ice and water.
But do you think that did they build that house or buy it that way?
They built it.
They built it. Do you think the roof was any concern to them?
Not one bit.
Not one bit.
Nope.
What was? Their floors,
The
their
countertops.
countertops, paint color, the type of windows, a roof?
It's a roof.
afterthought.
It's a roof, right?
That's how many times the homeowner asked you when they're getting a gutter estimate. Why didn't they just put this on when they built the house?
Right.
Because
All the time.
gutters are an afterthought. Because the gutters that
Gutters
go on,
aren't sexy.
no, and the gutters that go on a new home are the gutters that they're getting for like $4 a foot.
Correct.
The cheapest
Super cheap.
of the cheapest. That's why you still run into so many homes that have small downspouts.
Right.
Because they want the cheapest gutters to go on the home, because I don't know if it's code to put gutters on home. I don't know if
I
that's
think
part of the code, but builders know they're important,
They're important, right?
but they want the cheapest thing they can.
They would rather take the
possibly
couple $1,000s that we're going to go into gutters and put it into countertops, cabinets, lighting,
the sexy stuff.
sexy stuff. Because gutters and roofing, and especially insulation, isn't sexy until you find out that you have a problem.
Exactly.
But-
so it's done poorly to save money, to make the house look nicer.
Right.
I like, my analogy is a shiny turd.
Correct.
You shine it.
I'm not
you
sure we're
shine
going with
it,
this, but we'll go
but
with
it's
it.
still a turd.
Still a
when
turd.
it's not done right.
Right.
You're not
Still
sure where I'm
turd.
going with this?
I don't know where you're going with this, but I'll let you go.
I'm just talking about the homes that are built all over
You're talking about turds.
Madison and Dane County area. They are giant, shiny turds. And they're not even cheap ones anymore. They used to be like $350,000. Now they're like $5, $7, $8, $1 million shiny turds.
Right.
You know where I was going with this, right?
You're going.
Looks real nice and shiny, but in the middle, it's still a turd.
All right.
All right.
Awesome. Anything else, little buddy?
I think that's it.
Cool.
We've talked about icicles. We talked about ice dams. Oh, we're spreading.
We're spreading.
We're spreading our wings.
Yes. Our reach is
We're
not
flying-
just Wisconsin.
We're flying across the pond.
Lake Michigan.
Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're actually opening another gutter
Actually
shutter.
started yesterday. February 1st is the first day open.
February 1st. First
Yep.
day open.
Yep.
February 1st. First job sold.
Yeah. My assistant sales manager, Andy Steingraber, was been a great employee for a lot of years. And Andrew and I and Amy and Andrea thought, you know what a good opportunity to recognize that effort, energy, and give him the opportunity to open his own gutter shutter in Grand Rapids and put on the world's strongest gutter in Michigan, just like we do in Wisconsin.
Yep.
So it's fun. So congratulations, Andy. Great work.
Great area.
Great area.
They
Beautiful
have
area.
More trees than we do.
It's amazing. I thought we had a lot of trees. That's okay. The only place to have more trees than him, Valancourt.
Yeah, Adam, if
Hampshire.
you're listening.
He's got the most trees ever.
Unbelievable.
He needs to be doing way more
We
gutter.
don't have any farms there.
No, it's all
All
trees.
trees.
A lot of them.
Everywhere. Man.
They don't have cows. They have trees.
What do they have in New Hampshire?
Trees.
Tree.
So anyway, great show. Guys, keep the questions coming. If you have any questions, that kind of thing, certainly reach out to us. Ask the questions online. Reach out to our websites, KeeneyandLarsonHomeServices.com, and shoot us those questions, and we'll gladly take care of them.
Absolutely. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.